So today I say goodbye to the Dell G3 15. I've used it now for around about, I think about 2 months now. I'm unsure what I'm going to be replacing it with, but at the minute the shortcomings of it were quite disappointing. This particular one only comes with a 60Hz panel. After using other machines in the same price range, it's definitely a noticeable difference, especially when I go to something like this, which is the AOC G27, 144 Hz, 1080 resolution. But I think a couple of the biggest letdowns for me have been the thermals. So the biggest one is, you have a look at the back here, which I did point out in my first initial impressions of this laptop. And the fan's right here. Same on the other side. Open this baby up. Look at that. We are now blocking the fans, which is not good at all. So the long-term life of this laptop, I'm curious how well it will go. Another disappointment for me is, if I can get it in focus, there we go. Now I zoomed it in by accident. These babies, I could not get them to transfer faster than 40 megasecond. Didn't matter if it was a lot of little files or one big large file. It just seemed to have that speed restriction. So I'm not sure why that was the case, especially when it was even doing transfers to external SSDs. So that tended to disappoint me. Same with these two ones over here. Another little niche thing was the SD card would stick out probably about a thumb width. Granted, it doesn't really matter too much. But going back to the thermals, yes, you could point it and blame it on the OEM company that purchased the Intel chips. But personally, I'm more blaming it on Intel. With their turbo boost and whatever else they've got going on, where essentially I reckon they've tried to screw too much power out of the i5-9300. I feel like this chip should have originally been either 1.8 or 2 gigahertz, and then from there it would turbo boost up another 400 megahertz, maybe 500 megahertz depending. Because this machine and its cooling could not keep up with that chip. Even under light tasks, the i5 itself would just keep throttling. Even with Dell's own thermal cooling here. The cooling on this one wasn't really that much different to other machines. But I just definitely felt like on this particular machine, it just throttled a hell of a lot more. One good thing about it though, compared to the other ones, if I can get it to open, is battery life. The battery life on it was considerably better than other brands that I've come across. So compared to the Asus TUF, and also compared to the MSI GL65, the battery life on this was noticeably better without being an overly bigger battery. And on that side of things, the power supply itself, the power pack, a little bit lighter than other brands, so overall pretty decent. It's a usual Dell build quality, but the thermal sides on this certainly wasn't. So I'll be parting ways with this, even though it could easily handle CSGO at around about, it was typically averaging, while thermal throttling, around 140 or 120 up to about 180 FPS, which the particular panel itself could have been 120 Hz, and it would have been perfect for that game. keyboard layout itself, on the G3. Very standard, very Dell, very good. Key travel themselves on the buttons themselves. Perfectly fine. You know when you've hit the bottom, even if you hit a key on the sides, it would still drop down. No issues with that. Wasn't overly a fan of the blue, much prefer red, even though I thought at first red I would like less, especially coming from other models, but after going from red and then using a blue keyboard, I definitely prefer the look of the red keys at night as opposed to the blue keys. One other thing to harp on the screen brightness during the day. So right now, max brightness. I just found during some games of CSGO that the display itself even a dimly lit, or even if it, let's say afternoon light, let's say it was, right now we're about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, it's pretty good outside. Even then, I'd probably still classify this screen as a bit dull. If I was using it in the middle of the night, perfectly fine. Afternoon, also fine. But during the day, and if I shut blinds and used it, it still would feel too dim. Anyway, I think I'll be saying goodbye to the i3 or i5 9300H with the 1650s for now. I will try to aim potentially one step up to the i7 9750, I believe it's called. And I'll be definitely going towards the 1660 Ti. But the way the prices are going, I might even be moving towards that. Anyway, this is my rambling thoughts and a goodbye to the Dell G3. Catches.